1. Self-appraisal. A little boy went to a telephone booth which was at the cash counter of a store and dialed a number. The store owner observed and listened to the conversation. "Boy, lady, can you give me the job of cutting your lawn?" "Woman, at the other end of the phone line, I already have someone to cut my lawn." "Boy, lady, I will cut your lawn for half the price than the person who cuts your lawn now." "Woman, I'm very satisfied with the person who is presently cutting my lawn." "Boy, with more perseverance, a lady, I'll even sweep the floor and the stairs of your house for free." "Woman, no, thank you." With a smile on his face, the little boy replaced the receiver. The store owner, who was listening to all this, walked over to the boy. "Store owner, son? I like your attitude, I like that positive spirit and would like to offer you a job." "Boy, no thanks." "Store owner, but you were really pleading for one." "Boy, no sir, I was just checking my performance at the job I already have. I am the one who is working for that lady I was talking to." Asterisk. This is called self-appraisal. Give your best and the world comes to you. 2. Unpleasant. A 50-something-year-old white woman arrived at her seat on a crowded flight and immediately didn't want the seat. The seat was next to a black man. Disgusted, the woman immediately summoned the flight attendant and demanded a new seat. The woman said, "I cannot sit here next to this black man." The flight attendant said, "Let me see if I can find another seat." After checking, the flight attendant returned and stated there are no more seats in economy, but I will check with the captain and see if there is something in first class. About 10 minutes went by and the flight attendant returned and stated, "The captain has confirmed that there are no more seats in economy, but there is one in first class. It is our company policy to never move a person from economy to first class, but being that it would be some sort of scandal to force a person to sit next to an unpleasant person, the captain agreed to make the switch to first class." Before the woman could say anything, the attendant gestured to the black man and said, "Therefore, sir, if you would so kindly retrieve your personal items, we would like to move you to the comfort of first class as the captain doesn't want you to sit next to an unpleasant person." Passengers in the seats nearby began to applaud, while some gave a standing ovation. What a lesson to people who discriminate by color of skin. 3. Cup of coffee. A group of alumni, highly established in their careers, got together to visit their old university professor. Conversation soon turned into complaints about stress in work and life. Offering his guests coffee, the professor went to the kitchen and returned with a large pot of coffee and an assortment of cups, porcelain, plastic, glass, crystal, some plain-looking, some expensive, some exquisite, telling them to help themselves to the coffee. When all the students had a cup of coffee in hand, the professor said, "If you noticed, all the nice-looking expensive cups were taken up, leaving behind the plain and cheap ones. While it is normal for you to want only the best for yourselves, that is the source of your problems and stress. Be assured that the cup itself adds no quality to the coffee. In most cases it is just more expensive and in some cases even hides what we drink. What all of you really wanted was coffee, not the cup, but you consciously went for the best cups. And then you began eyeing each other's cups. Now consider this: life is the coffee. The jobs, money, and position in society are the cups. They are just tools to hold and contain life. And the type of cup we have does not define nor change the quality of life we live. Sometimes, by concentrating only on the cup, we fail to enjoy the coffee God has provided us. God brews the coffee, not the cups. Enjoy your coffee. Moral: the happiest people don't have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything. Live simply. Love generously. Care deeply. Speak kindly. Leave the rest to God. 4. Why we shout in anger. A Hindu saint who was visiting river Ganges to take bath found a group of family members on the banks, shouting in anger at each other. He turned to his disciples, smiled, and asked, "Why do people shout in anger, shout at each other?" Disciples thought for a while. One of them said, "Because we lose our calm, we shout." "But why should you shout when the other person is just next to you? You can as well tell him what you have to say in a soft manner," asked the saint. Disciples gave some other answers, but none satisfied the other disciples. Finally, the saint explained, "When two people are angry at each other, their hearts distance a lot. To cover that distance, they must shout to be able to hear each other. The angrier they are, the stronger they will have to shout to hear each other to cover that great distance." What happens when two people fall in love? They don't shout at each other, but talk softly, because their hearts are very close. The distance between them is either non-existent or very small. The saint continued, when they love each other even more, what happens? They do not speak, only whisper, and they get even closer to each other in their love. Finally, they even need not whisper, they only look at each other, and that's all. That is how close two people are when they love each other. He looked at his disciples and said, "So when you argue, do not let your hearts get distant, do not say words that distance each other more, or else there will come a day when the distance is so great that you will not find the path to return." 5. How long it would take. One day a man who had been to gather his coconuts loaded his horse heavily with the fruit. On the way home he met a boy whom he asked how long it would take to reach the house. "If you go slowly," said the boy, looking at the load on the horse, "you will arrive very soon, but if you go fast, it will take you all day." The man could not believe this strange speech, so he hurried his horse. But the coconuts fell off and he had to stop to pick them up. Then he hurried his horse all the more to make up for lost time, but the coconuts fell off again. Many times he did this, and it was night when he reached home. 6. The boy who became a stone. One day a little boy named Elonan sat out in the yard making a bird snare, and as he worked, a little bird called to him, "Tick tick Loden, come and catch me." "I am making a snare for you," said the boy, but the bird continued to call until the snare was finished. Then Elonan ran and threw the snare over the bird and caught it, and he put it in a jar in his house while he went with the other boys to swim. While he was away, his grandmother grew hungry, so she ate the bird, and when Elonan returned and found that his bird was gone, he was so sad that he wished he might go away and never come back. He went out into the forest and walked a long distance, until finally he came to a big stone and said, "Stone, open your mouth and eat me." And the stone opened its mouth and swallowed the boy. When his grandmother missed the boy, she went out and looked everywhere, hoping to find him. Finally she passed near the stone, and it cried out, "Here he is." Then the old woman tried to open the stone, but she could not, so she called the horses to come and help her. They came and kicked it, but it would not break. Then she called the carabao and they hooked it, but they only broke their horns. She called the chickens, which pecked it, and the thunder, which shook it, but nothing could open it, and she had to go home without the boy.